another challenge is the mentality that foreign companies or foreign individuals may have, that they want to do everything themselves, you know. Whereas if you have the understanding that if you want to do long-term business in China, it would be very beneficial to have a Chinese partner. Then that would make a huge difference. You know, if you have a local partner that understands.
All right. So can you tell me like how Gojom's different from other real estate platform?
Right. So in Latin America, you know, the real estate platforms are not very developed as they are here in China. You know, so there is a lot. There's a lot of room for improvement. So historically, you know, all real estate platforms, the properties that they showcase, they feature the asking price and the characteristics of the property. So what we do is we have using AI tools, we also display what the market price for that property is. So people, when they see a listing, they know if this listing is if it's a good deal, if it's not a good deal. Now, in places like Latin America, this is of great value because there is no MLS system such as in North America. So it's really hard to determine what the market value is for a property. There's no records of like the past sales, so forth. So people really rely on how much they want to sell their homes for as far as the listing prices. So homes in Latin America could go 1 year on the market before being sold. So what we're doing is we're using information to showcase what the market price is for each property, and that saves people a lot of time, because usually if you want to know, or if you want to have an idea for what the market price is, you have to do the research. You have to research an area that could take weeks. And what we're doing is that we're also bringing the brokerage business online. You know, we're forming strong alliances, and so now people can buy, sell, and rent real estate in the comfort of their own homes.
Mm-hmm. All right. So basically, the two difference is that for Gojom, we show a market price for the user, and as well as like we bring all the brokers online, so we make it easier for the user to search for the new house, right?
Exactly. And very soon we will be bringing in financial services.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's going to be a whole new layer of services. And once we get that done, then we will be the Latin American's first one-stop shop for real estate.
Wow. Oh, cool. All right. Perfect. Interesting. So, as we just learned from you that Gojom is also sponsored by Y Combinator, right? So, can you please tell us how to best prepare for such an incubation program or that funding program?
Right. Well, I mean, the first step is to fill out an application, you know, and then after that, it's all about, you know, what the business idea is, what the performance is, because we had a quick interview, you know, among our first application. So we interviewed, and at that point we didn't have the revenue, you know, and quick interview, like maybe 2 minutes, and then they said, thank you, we'll keep in mind, you know. And then at that point, you know, we realized that we had to shift gears. So we switched our business model into one where we could generate revenue much faster. And then after 6 months, we had explosive growth. And then at that point, they really paid attention to us. And then that's when they made the decision to you know, invest in us. So it took 6 months from the first application to them really catching on to us and saying, oh, all right, you know, these guys are onto something. So it really depends on what the business model is and what the results are as well.
All right. Okay, cool. Also, I think this is a very good questions for those who want to start doing something. Can you tell us the biggest mistake you made during your entrepreneurship journey and what did you learn from them?
There's a lot of
Yeah, you can pick
there.
like top ones.
All right. So I would say, for most young entrepreneurs who are watching this, I would say the biggest mistake are the actions that are never made. And why are these actions never made? Because people are afraid. People feel, oh, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What will people think of this? But the truth is that no matter what happens, you will win, because let's say you have a business idea. Okay, you put it into action. If it works, fantastic. It worked. If it didn't work, you will learn from that. You learn from that. It's going to make you more ready. It's going to give you more experience for the next time around. So no matter what happens, you will come out on top, because business, entrepreneurship, it's not a short-term race. It's a long-term race. You don't see the benefits of your actions until a few years later. Sometimes you just never know where things will take you. So the best way to move forward is just by moving forward, like not being afraid. So I would say that the biggest mistake most people make is to be afraid of taking action.
All right, that's a very good one. Yeah, so if you want to do something, then do it, then make it, right?
Don't hesitate.
Cool.
Go for it.
All right, perfect. Well, so I just want to know more, like, also the difference between Latin America startup ecosystem and as well as China startup ecosystem. Can you tell us like the differences? What is like there?
Yeah, I mean, Latin America, there's a lot of differences between each country. Like there are some countries who are highly developed. I wouldn't say highly developed, because China's highly developed. China, you have a lot of resources, you have a lot of sponsorship, you have a lot of capital in China. Latin America doesn't have as much capital, but you will see countries that are more tech savvy, like Mexico, Colombia, Brazil. These are like I guess you could call it tech hubs. But smaller countries like Peru, where the tech ecosystem is still very young, it's a little bit challenging to move forward. But it's also an opportunity, because there's not as much competition.
Competitors.
Players. So you can reach key players, key co-founders much easier. Like, for example, one of the reasons why we had great success is because I was able to bring on board a key co-founder, and he's been a huge asset to us. But if I was in Mexico, I would not have the access to get him on board. So I think that's a big plus, being in a lesser developed tech ecosystem country.
All right, cool. So even though like there are much less capital there, but it's good because there are less players there, and it's easier for you to find key partners, right?
Exactly. And even though there's less capital available, you got to find a way to find it. Like another of our co-founders, my close friend, he has a background in banking, and also in helping startups raise funds. So I knew he would be key, because any startup needs cash. So I knew he would play a huge role in that.
I see. All right, cool. So here come another topic to discuss. Like, looking through your LinkedIn profile, if I'm not mistaken, you are also the president of China Peru Investment Development Association, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, what makes China's attractive for a foreign company or startup?
Right. Well, I mean, this organization is very centered more so on the Belt and Road Initiative. Because what really separates China is that they have this initiative to invest abroad, in Belt and Road member countries, in natural resource projects, in infrastructure projects. Mm-hmm. So that is something unique, and Peru has several opportunities to participate within the Belt and Road Initiative. So that is the initial reason why, I founded this organization, to maximize the opportunities between the Chinese and Peruvian counterparts to move forward the Belt and Road Initiative.
Ah, I see. So yeah, I have heard of that term too. I think like everyone's know this term, right? Belt and Road Initiative. So the next question is like, how would a foreign company or startup benefit from Belt and Road Initiative?
If you are abroad, mm-hmm. and you do business in China, mm-hmm. You can find ways to find, like, it also depends on which industry you are in. If you're in natural resources, like for example, if you're in mining, if you're in energy, if you are also dealing with an infrastructure project, you will have more opportunities to find a Chinese operating investor, because there's this mandate from the government to invest in these types of projects. But these types of projects are usually quite large. So I wouldn't say it's suitable for a startup, depending on what the nature of the startup is. If it's a large endeavor, then they could seek out, funding through the Belt and Road.
I see. So it's depend on like what kind of industry you're doing right now, right? And the top ones you mentioned is actually natural resources and infrastructure.
Right, exactly.
I see. Cool. All right. So this one for foreign company, they might want to get into the China market, but China market is so unique. There are so many things different from their home country. So what are the challenges for foreign companies penetrating China market?
Well, I think the main challenge is the culture. You really need to understand how to approach counterparts, how to deal with them, how to develop the relationship. Developing the relationship with Chinese counterparts is crucial. And another challenge is the mentality that foreign companies or foreign individuals may have, that they want to do everything themselves, whereas if you have the understanding that if you want to do long-term business in China, it would be very beneficial to have a Chinese partner. Then that would make a huge difference. If you have a local partner that understands, that has connections, that could really help boost your company, that would be a huge benefit to that particular endeavor.
All right. So the main things that foreign company need to be prepared is like, how can they adapt themselves to Chinese cultures, or how can they reach out to Chinese counterpart, because the culture is so different, right?
Exactly. Right.
I see. So from that question, so how can foreign company like learn the cultures or prepare to reach out to those Chinese key partners?
Well, I would say what I did is I would come to China. I went, the first time I came to China was in May 2016. And then I came again in September. I came again the following March. I kept on coming back. I kept on meeting people, networking. I would go to conferences. I would go have meetings with as many companies, as many agencies as I could. And I developed friendships. I developed contacts. I developed my own ways into learning, the way, learning how to build relationships. It was a lot of like groundwork. It took about a year and a half before I made the move to China.
Oh,
So
right.
I probably did it the hard way. I'm sure there are easier ways, but yeah, that's what one can do.
Yeah, all right. So if you want to understand China, why don't you come and see what China is like, right? Oh,
There's no country like China.
uh-huh. In what way can you emphasize that, or like how China is so different?
That's a very good question, actually. Because people from the West, they may not understand China. I think their media exposure is somewhat biased, and they don't really know what's going on here. So I think for someone from the West that has had no previous exposure uh, to real China, when they come here, they would see, oh my God, this is it's an amazing country. It's so developed. It's more developed than North America. There's more technology. There's more social integration. The infrastructure is so clean, so pristine. The business works a lot more efficient here. Things are just a lot bigger. The market's crazier. So when people realize what China is all about, they would probably, one thing that they would see is that there's nothing to fear. It's not this this evil empire. It's a very friendly place. It's a very normal place. It's just more advanced in some ways, than most of North America, most of Europe. And that's just a sign of things to come for the future, right? So if people have vision, they will realize, it's good to do business in China. It's good to be here because it's going to be like this, moving forward. It's where the future is. It's where the present is.
Right, right. Well, I do agree on that part. I mean, like there are so many misconceptions about China and stuff. All right, cool. Apart from learning the Chinese culture or understand what China's like, is there any other suggestions you would like to give to a foreign company or a business that want to go to China market?
I think it's very important also to understand the Chinese public needs, what their target market is. You don't want to go into a new market with the wrong product. And for this, you really need to understand the Chinese demographics, the Chinese customs, the culture. You don't want to sell the wrong product at the wrong time, with the wrong color, wrong shape, wrong anything, right? So I think there are many agencies, there are many marketing agencies in China that specialize in this, to help foreign companies, with their marketing research, and there are some that are very successful. So if a foreign company wants to do business in China, they don't have the time and to come here, live here, to learn it firsthand. They can hire a marketing agency and they can do all the hard work for them for a smooth landing here.
All right, cool. Yeah. So I think like that's all the questions list we have from our fans right now. So Alfredo, yeah, thank you very much for joining this talk. Like I'm sure that our listener audience can learn a lot from your insight as being the co-founder and as well as taking care of business in China, and that is very useful.
No, thank you very much for having me. I'll be glad to help.